Hi.
What up?
How are you? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can you hear me okay? I want to make sure
Yeah,
my
I
headphones are coming
can.
through rather
Can you
clear.
hear me?
Yeah, man. Nice and clear. I love your background. Look at that. The books and the kids' drawings. You know,
It's
my
my kids' room. I hijacked it after COVID hit.
and like I tried to be just good enough where you can't see all the kids' pictures and toys, you know?
Yeah.
Feels feels like it's a grown-up area, but it's not. The kids are taking over the house.
Yes, I agree. So now I've actually brought my computer table right next to their playroom, and it's like
Yeah.
so they can play in front of me as I work.
That's amazing, man. Big shout out to your sister. She just joined. Armin, how are you?
Hi,
Um,
man.
good to see you. Listen, thank you for making some time. I know you got two kids and you're doing your movie and your magazine, and so I appreciate you making some time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate you making time for me. I mean, you're the entrepreneur, Daisy Fest, you have IG Lives, you have podcast, Schoolio, and many others.
Gee, and you know we got a visitor. What's up? What are you doing here, bro? You're like
Hi.
she's literally standing right there staring. I'm like, why?
Let's
Why?
hope my kids don't just walk in and they're like, Mama,
Man.
who's
Um,
that?
let's start with the new reality, COVID. How you holding up? How's the kids? What's going on in your life in the last, 5, 6 months?
It's been good. It's actually been great as well because I've got to spend a lot of time with my kids since they're home now and they're not in school. And we do a lot of dance parties, so more dancing for me, which is great. I used to dance a long time ago and I quit for many years, and now they've brought me back, especially Armin, who's the actual dancer here. But lots of ice creams, lots of no control over what you're eating, and lots of, walks, bike riding, and lots of pool time. So it's been fun.
Amazing.
And a lot of time to work as well from home. So, which has been
Yeah,
quite interesting.
amazing. I want to dive into that. So when we met, you guys, were important part of DC Fest, are and still are, every year, your editorial coverage of our show and the pre-awareness for the artists and the post coverage really helps bring the message out from the community side. So congrats. How long has Bollywood Film Fame's been running? Like over 10 years for sure that I know you.
We just completed 15 years. I
What?
know! Yay! Yes, we
15
completed
years.
15 years. I can't believe it's been 15 years. I don't know where those 15 years went. Wow.
That's incredible, man. So maybe we start with that. Walk us through, the origins of that project, and then, I want to dive into sort of some of the ups and downs and the pivots and things that the magazine might have taken. And then, for anybody that's watching, like real success comes when you can solve a problem long enough where you matter, right? And you guys
Yeah.
matter for almost 15 years. Why? What is it about the product? What is it about what you're doing that people are connecting with and resonating that is so key to so many businesses that people forget? There's this like, fly by night, like I'm gonna make a pitch deck, raise some money, make some money, and burn kind of a world we live in. And when you meet people that are in business for 10, 12, 15 years, there's a secret sauce there. Let's talk about that.
The secret sauce is lots of work, lots of hard work, dedication, passion. I think when we started, we had no idea about what we were getting into. We actually didn't know we were getting into this magazine because it was a family members project, and we had contacts in India, and it was supposed to be something that they were going to develop and we would market it here. But last minute, things didn't work out, and it was so the family member came to my sister and me and said, "This is what's happening. We have the launch next week. We don't have a magazine." So my sister has always been a writer. She, since I don't know, age, I don't know, 7. I remember her reading fluently when she was 4, and she used to read like the Babysitter's Club when she was in grade 1 and stuff.
What?
Yeah, Armin is such a nerd. No, but she's
What?
so good. Yeah. And she's an amazing writer. So she said, okay, maybe I can help with the editorials. And I knew a little bit of graphic design at the time. So I said, okay, fine, I'll design it. And then the other family member was going to do the rest of it. And our father was there as well. He started doing marketing and advertising. And my mom is in accounting. So she said, okay, I'll do the accounts and stuff. So let's do this. And we started it. And now we're here 15 years later. I mean, when print was up here, we were doing really well, you know, and as soon as
Right.
media started coming down, that's when we had to change gears and we had to make sure that we stayed with what the trends were. And at that time, it was more of like going digital. So what we did from our bi-monthly magazine print issue to we went switched gears to a monthly digital issue, and then we all
Mm.
obviously had our own daily news website that we still do, and we started doing IG lives, we started doing Facebook lives, we have the monthly newsletter, we also launched our own YouTube channel 2 months ago after COVID
Oh,
hit,
wow. Okay, okay.
which is doing great as well. So it's been fun. I think Armin does at least 3 interviews each day, and she keeps getting requests from India and UK and US and Canada to just, you know, hey, yeah, I have this project. Can you interview me? I have this, and it's been great. And I think in the past few days, I mean, this morning she had an IG live, and she had 2 interviews. So I mean, it's been so busy that when those interviews come to me for edit and sign, I'm like, oh my God, when am I going to do this?
Now, even with Armin, this is not full time. This is a side hustle.
Yes, it is. She's actually a full-time Crown attorney.
Right.
Yeah, she's a lawyer. So this is her one of her part-time stuff that she does.
Man, I've always said myself, in my circle of friends, I need to have people that are publishers and media folks and a lawyer for sure. And with your family, I have both in one family, which is amazing. To sustain something like this, and one of the topics I explore all the time is like, why do we do the things we do, right? I like, everything you said about, what you give back to the world through your content, stories and culture and representation that we miss so much in our culture. But why? What is it about this that's given you guys a side hustle mindset and the commitment for over 15 years?
You know what? It's been a learning experience. Every time we interview someone, we don't look for gossip. That's something that you'll never find in our magazine. I know every Bollywood thing you'll find out there, it's all gossip and who broke up with who and who's with who and oh, this person did this at the party. But you will never find that in our magazine. Our interviews are very different, and it's always about either a project or how about filmmaking. If we're interviewing a director, we're not going to say we'll ask them what are the challenges that you face as a director, and if that director has ever acted, we'll ask them, how does your acting experience help you in your directing? We'll try to have conversations that no one else would have. So
Right.
that's something, and you know what, we've learned so much from that, and we've expanded our network as well, which is a huge asset, especially in filmmaking. When I'll be making my feature film, that's the network I'll be hitting up. So I think it's because we learn and we love doing what we do, and we've made so many friends that we would have never met otherwise. And I think that's
Right.
something that keeps us going. It's not even the money, it's nothing like that, but it's just our passion and our hobby and something that just makes us happy when we do it.
Yeah, one of the things that I try to break down in these talk shows, and for those of you that are joining for the very first time, thank you. The idea around this is about breaking mindsets, and so much of our culture, we don't share like the how part. We tell people what to do, like dream big and be passionate, and
Exactly.
but how? How do you find passion? What does that mean? How do you find motivation and dedication and things that you don't learn in school, right? They teach you how to be a scientist, a lawyer, a writer, a computer programmer. But where do you learn how to develop passion? And what does that even look like? So, when somebody asks you, and I'm going to ask you, like, what does passion mean to you? And is there a blueprint or a way to figure out what that is? Because, you went from, I want to dissect in a bit, like before this magazine, what was passion like? Then you've got this passion. Now you're a filmmaker with an incredible short, right? A Bloody Mess, which we want to talk about. So how do you define the word passion, and how do you know which one to like care about and which one is just fluff?
Passion for me, I'll give you an example. For example, last night I had to edit a YouTube interview and it had to go up this morning. So I was really sleepy. We had a really long day at the beach yesterday with our kids. So when we came back, I'm like, I don't want to work. But as soon as I got onto my laptop, I started editing. I was very tired, exhausted, but I didn't want to get off until that video was done, and not just done, but to its perfection. That's passion. When you are willing to sacrifice your everything to work on something because you're very into it, that's passion for me. So that's how I
Wow.
discovered I love doing this.
That is now the soundbite we're gonna use. That is so perfect. When you are willing to sacrifice other things to do this one thing,
Yeah.
And I was like that, man. Like after I sold the company in 2017, I was like, what do I do? Like, where do I go all in on? Because all my passions came from I need to life hack. And like the 43-year-old version of me 2 years ago was happy with who I am at that point. I want to continue evolving, but at that point, I didn't have anything to work on. So it's kind of like, what do I go all in on? And then, COVID opened up my passion for education. COVID opened up my passion for like being involved because I'm now involved in my kids' education at home. And I realized how broken it is, not just for the kids, but for the parents to like feel confident in being part of your child's education. Like our option is what? Either we have to change our entire life and be homeschooling parents,
Yeah.
or we need the money to keep dumping into other people. So now I have a passion. I get up every day. I'm pumped. I'm like, I am the CEO of Schoolio, and this is our mission to help parents become better, confident homeschooling parents, right? And
Yeah.
and this is like my 90th job, of all the
I
different pivots and
know.
ideas, you know. So when you are thinking, okay, I'm gonna take on this family, idea and this person with the magazine, what was life like up to that point? Were you already in the creative space? Was the magazine a natural evolution or like a giant leap?
So at that time, I was in high school. So that was a very long time ago. And when I was in high school, my Armin and I, we used to have a dance studio. It was called A2A Dance, Bollywood Dance Academy. And we used to teach Bollywood, hip hop, Bhangra, Gidda, jazz. And we had over 100 students. So for us, that was our passion at that time. We used to just dance every day after school, weekends, perform, etc. And at that time I had to design posters, so I quickly learned like whatever softwares were available. I don't even remember what I used to do it in.
Corel Draw. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Corel Draw, that's right. And like just do quick posters in that, and Armin would do editorials and send it to newspapers and stuff. So I guess that's where we realized, hey, if we can do it for our academy, why can't we do it full time? So that's how we went into the magazine, and we knew, you know what, we can, if we give it a try, I think we can do it. And Armin and I are believe we're hardcore believers that if you try something, and even though you don't know how to do it, just keep trying it, you will end up learning it sooner or later, and you will excel that craft if you put a lot of time and effort into it. So
Wow, let's stop right there for 1 second and let's rewind. And please say that again so everybody can hear you on this podcast.
you will excel in your craft if you keep trying and not give up and just put your effort and your heart into it.
That's incredible, man. So often we stop at the first roadblock. Like,
Yeah.
because we're expecting everything to be so easy in life, and this social media always on world makes it feel like it's such a easy way to do stuff, but I love it. What a great reminder to be like, you got to put in the time, you got to keep breaking through, and you got to keep attacking it to get to the level that you want to get into. That's amazing. Keep going, keep going.
Thanks, Satish. So, yeah, I feel like, like you said, roadblocks. they will be everywhere, no matter what you do. Just don't give up, because with every roadblock, every fall you have, just get up and realize why you fell in the first place, so that you don't fall again because of that. If you fall again, that's fine. Realize why you fell the second time. You will fall until you finally learn to walk. So, and kids do that too when they're growing up, infants, they learn to fall first and then walk. So, and it's the same thing in our life as well, just keep going. And I always say to everyone I meet, because this was something that I can refer to as well, if an opportunity doesn't come to you, make your own opportunities.
That's so good. I'm sorry, I just get really excited with these knowledge bombs, man. Wow. Okay, let's keep going. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, uh, the magazine was an opportunity which didn't really come. We made it into an opportunity for ourselves. And we had so many roadblocks, so many. It's not easy surviving as a media outlet in Canada. Having a South Asian media outlet, I should also add that, and an
Yes.
entertainment one. So it was very hard, but with every roadblock that came, we realized why that roadblock was there, and we tried to stay away from that and try something else. Like, for example, when COVID hit, that was a huge roadblock. Printing outlets were
Mm,
closed. Our print issue was supposed to be coming out, and I have a feeling my daughter's coming in. I
yes.
hear the doorknob.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we realized we have to go all digital. So we made monthly issues. They're all digital. We started our YouTube channel, and we said, you know what? We just have to think of why this is happening. And my daughter's now knocking on the door, trying to open it. Can
It's
you hear
okay.
her?
Mine's right there. It's okay. It's weird
Okay.
that she's literally right there and not saying a word.
She's now
Even though
kicking
she
on the door.
can.
Did you
I
hear
love
it?
it. Yeah, yeah, let her in. Let her in. And we'll make it a party. One of the things
Oh,
now we have a celebrity coming in, stars. Yes, we have celebrities in the building. Yay! What's up, celebrity? Nice to see you.
hi. Oh, did my Hi. Oh, there you go. They're all in.
Yay! It's a party. It's a party. Did you
Okay.
guys did you guys do any homework today?
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Good to do
That's the
homework
first
every
thing they
single
do
day.
after they take a shower and eat their homework.
Can
And
can you
brush
please
our teeth.
can
And
you
brush
please
our
tell
teeth.
can you tell my kids to get off TikTok, please? That's all they do. They wake up and go on TikTok.
Okay, these guys have made themselves comfortable here. Okay, thank you.
I
Oh,
love it, man.
okay.
I love it, man.
They're
What
actually
what's
in one of my short films, Future Superheroes. So she's the
Oh
lead.
wow, okay.
Yeah. And it was when COVID hit and we wanted to make a movie.
Yeah.
Um, and so, okay, this is going to be very hard.
Love it. I love it. Talk to me about your support network because people like us, we can't do the things we do and dream the dreams we have without a support network. What's your support network like? I know your sister is an amazing support
Oh,
network for you.
yeah, I don't know what I would do without her. I am where I am because of my sister. A huge shout out to her, to my parents, to my husband, to these kiddos. They always listen when I say, Mama has to work, please let me work. Okay, Mama, we'll read a book here. Which book should we read? So they're very helpful as well. And my friends and family, my brother-in-laws, both of them. And I think if it wasn't for them, I would never be able to do what I'm doing because we always go to Master eye care. Okay. go see go see what Didi's doing. Go tell Masi. Go tell Masi you were on.
I love it. This is what I love about live shows, guys. We literally are living the life that we're telling everybody about.
This is what happens. And sometimes I'll be doing sometimes I'll
I
be
love
doing Zoom interviews with like celebrities and stuff for the magazine, and they'll just like pop in there and they're like, "Hi." I'm like, "Okay, I can't believe this is live." Okay.
yeah, yeah. But this is the
Yeah.
reality, and this is the
There-
perfection that I tell people about, right? Like the version we see on social media is so clean and so positioned, while the reality is Right now, you're dropping knowledge bombs, being a mom and an entrepreneur all at the same time. And this is real life.
This is it can be very challenging with two little kids, you know. You're trying to focus on something and you're like, yeah. I know it's very hard. I mean,
Listen, I'm a dad to a teenage daughter now, man. Can you believe that? I was like, what happened? How am
oh my
I
God.
a teenage dog? I gotta order the shotgun. I gotta get the barbed wire. I gotta get ready for the boys. It's now my
Oh
new
my
thing.
God.
I have to
Yeah.
be that guy, you know?
Yeah.
The support network is really important because we are here with no family, just our immediate family. So the idea of uncles and aunts and things, I just never had. So I learned how to be vulnerable with others because you
Yeah.
can't create deep relationships without opening up. But it's also the first thing our culture teaches
Yeah.
us not to do, not to show weakness, not to ask for help, not to say, please support me. Yet we need that to build anything of value and sustenance. And so, when you're looking at sort of your network and now, going into film, that's a whole different, headache and stress in creating that art and the amount of people you need to build a team around. Maybe talk a little bit about the origins of a bloody mess and how that manifested and some of the things that you've learned along the way.
So, I always wanted to bring stories to life. That was one of my passions. I've always been into filmmaking. And as you know, with the magazine, we always cover TIFF every year. And my sister and I, with my two friends, Shweta and Amreen, who are actually right here, Amreen is and Shweta and Daisy. And we're always thinking, we're covering these red carpets. We're never on the red carpet. Why do we have to be behind those barricades where we're interviewing? One day we will be on the red carpet and doing interviews, and talking about our films, because each one of us is very passionate about filmmaking. And that's where we realized there are so many films that need to be made, so many topics that need to be talked about. And we decided that we will make films that talk about social issues, women related issues that no one else talks about in the way they should be talked about. So Bloody Mess is about menstruation. And with menstruation, I still remember when we came up with the idea and we were telling this is what we're going to make our film on. And people would be like, where's the door?
Yeah.
So they would not take us seriously, and then we said, you know what? Now we have to do it because of this. And I can't believe that despite it being a natural process, a natural bodily process, even if I have to call work because I'm in pain because of my period, I can't say, hey, I just got my period today. I'll have to say I'm not feeling well, I'm calling in sick. So it should not be like that. If you have fever or something, you're able to say, hey, I have fever. So why can't I talk about it that way? Why can't I tell my husband or my father to grab me pads, on their way back, etc. And that's where Armin and I started to do some research, and we held focus groups with a lot of girls aged 10 to 40, no, 10 to 35. And we interviewed everyone, and you will be shocked to know that most of the girls did not know what a period was when they first got it. And a lot of them thought that they had cancer. And one particular girl, so most of the scenes in our film are actually inspired from true stories. Every single
Wow.
scene. I mean, I can't give away the ending or else it'll ruin the film, but um, the one girl who stood out a lot was someone who got her period. She came from a conservative family, and she got her first period. She had no idea what it was about, and she thought it was cancer. She's dying, and she didn't want to tell her parents. So she took a plastic bag, put all her bloody clothes in, went to the backyard, start digging a hole, put all her clothes in there, dirty clothes, and she ran away from home.
What?
And fortunately, her parents found her on time
Got it.
before she left. Yeah, so that's where our first scene starts from before the credits even come in, the opening credits. And it's a 10-year-old girl who's, burying dirty clothes, and you hear in a voiceover that she has written a letter. We only see hands and stuff. And she's written a letter to her parents saying, "Dear Mama and Papa, I love you guys, but I have to go away. I have cancer, and I don't want you to feel that, I don't want to be a burden in the family, which is why I'm running away. And I want to let you know that I love you so much." And that's the first scene, and the opening titles come in, A Bloody Mess, and that's where the story starts. Um, so yeah, every scene that you'll see in the watch in the film is actually inspired from a true story from a Canadian girl that we interviewed, a Canadian South Asian girl. Can you believe it?
Wow, I have like 100 questions right now. So let me ask the most obvious dumb question in my head. Okay, this is 2020. Whose accountability is it to start teaching this as part of the education system? Because I would expect that, like, I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and I know when she had her first period, and it was such a hush hush thing at home. It was like the secret thing, like, oh my gosh, you know what happened today? And I was like, okay, I don't. How am I supposed to react right now? Is this a moment of celebration, like India, where they doll you up and they do pujas and put you in a corner? Like that's what my sister went through, and it was horrific. Like, or do we go hush hush in Canada? How do we? Who's supposed to talk about this stuff? Is it parents? Is it family? Is it schools? Like, where do we? I don't know where to start.
I always say start from your home, start from yourself, start from your family. So if I'm that little girl, I can start by saying, oh, I should be, if I'm that little girl, I should feel comfortable enough to talk to my family about it. I should not be running away. So I guess the start has to come from the parents. The parents need to make sure that child is comfortable enough to tell the parents everything that they should be telling or they need to tell. So starting from home is a one big thing. And once it starts from home, when the child knows, oh, this is a normal process, I don't need to be shy about it. I can tell my dad about it. I can tell my brother about it. So I can go to school and tell people about it. I don't need to be like, I don't know what this is. I can be talking about it freely. And it's also the school's responsibility when they are, well, okay, so here's another thing. School boards do teach this. They do talk about menstruation. But a lot of South Asian families do not send their kids to school when they are supposed to be teaching that. They actually, on purpose. So I found this out when I was talking to one of the school board trustees, because we were, before COVID hit and then everything changed, we were doing a lot of panels on menstruation and talking about it to kids, and we had a lot of plans for it. So we were also thinking about going to schools and talking to not just girls, but the whole classroom about, you don't need to be afraid. It's just menstruation. This is what happens. This is what you'll feel. This is what you need to do. And when I found out that when they're teaching sex ed projects, or when they are talking about
Curriculum.
sexual education, yes, exactly, that's the word. And and they do send out forms to their parents to have it signed that my child will be attending it. A lot of South Asian parents do not send their child to school that day, and they're like, less than 50%, a lot of times less than 50% of classroom is full for those kind of. So that's why I said, you know what, it needs to start from home. It needs to start from the parents, and then the child, and then the school and the media and everyone else. It cannot be just one person's responsibility. It has to be everyone's. And
And you know what's frustrating is like it's like sometimes as parents, maybe too much options is bad. Meaning like the teacher doesn't send a form saying, "Hey, tomorrow we're going to teach your kid algebra.
yeah,
Are you interested?" Or we're going to
exactly.
review
Right?
Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet. So
Yeah,
if sex education is as important for life as the other education topics are, just teach it,
exactly.
man. Don't be an
Yeah,
usher to make a decision.
exactly. I mean, it's something that's part of their body. It's part of their life. Why would you request, okay, can we teach your kids this? Why? Oh, why
You
are,
know,
it should be there. And everyone, it should be mandatory for kids to attend.
man. So I know you guys are in the festival route right now. You won some awards on it. Talk a little bit about, like, pump up
Oh my
the
God.
project, man. Big up yourself, as they say in the hood. Big up
So
yourself, sister. Tell me what's going on.
So we are now at over 27 film festivals around the world, and
Wow.
we won our first Remy Award, which is huge, at the 53rd Houston International Film Festival. Now, a Remy Award is an award which was won by Ang Lee, Steven Spielberg. Many of those big Hollywood directors and producers started their career from a Remy Award. So as soon as I won that, I was not expecting it. I'm like, what? I actually read that email 5 times. I'm like, can someone else read this email? Is it true? Is this like spam? Is someone, I'm like, is this like a joke? Someone's playing on me. But it was real, and I'm like, when I got it, I'm like, oh my God. And after that, we won Best Short Film. We won many awards at the Florence Film Awards in California, Queen Palm, and day before yesterday, we won an award at International Filmmaker Festival of New York. We won Excellence in Filmmaking. So
Wow.
been great. And oh, this morning we won an award in India. So I'm just
Jeez, man, I'm so happy for you. That's incredible.
thank
And
you.
it also shows how well the message is being received, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes in old, broken down systems and communities, the voice of reason has to come from outside. And I feel
Hmm.
like so much of what you guys have produced is the voice from the outside, where they can, weaponize you guys into a message and break down cultural barriers.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? It's also filmmaking is such a difficult field to be in. You can't do it alone. So I have my sister who's writing, and I have a lot of support in Flyway Films, which is my company. I have Shweta, who's also here, who's saying congratulations. She had a huge part in the film. Daisy, who's not here right now, she has a huge part. They've dedicated so much time to this project, and it wouldn't have been possible without them, without Amreen, without Think Brown Media, Sarabjit. Locations are so hard to find. Actors are so hard to find. I mean, kudos to Annie Kochi, Maria Crystal, and Devanshu. They've been amazing, amazing. And it's a group effort. So everyone came and did their part, and that's how we ended up getting everything we did. If it
I
was just
love that.
me or just Armin, it would have never happened. It was a group effort.
I love that, man. I love that. And one of the things I try to really break down for people watching my podcast, and the world has enough podcasts, and so for me to like want to do this, the message I'm always trying to get to people is, what is the work you got to do on yourself before you can, be ready to serve the world. And so in this process of now creating a new identity for yourself as a filmmaker, attracting people that believe in your leadership and your sister's leadership, what are some of the self uh, evolution that you've gone through, right? What are some of the skills? What are some of the new habits? What are some of the new versions of yourself that you've discovered along the way to do what you got to do, which is go produce a short film today and a feature film later?
So, a lot of things I've learned. The first thing is that I need to be more flexible in terms of, if there's an idea I want to have, but more than one person has said, no, this is not a good idea, I need to rework that idea. That's something that
Mm,
I've learned. And I have learned that I cannot be stubborn in something like this. And another thing I've learned is teamwork makes the dream work. So everyone is bringing in their ideas, and a lot of times when we did table reads with our script, everyone has said, would say, someone would always say, oh, what if this happened instead of this, and someone else said, oh, what if this happened instead of this. So all those ideas, don't let it go, because just because you have your own vision, think about what other visions are available for you and try to incorporate it, and then go back to other people and say, hey, what do you think about this? And
mm.
don't think, always ask for help. That's one thing I've learned. I never used to ask for help. And ever since I started asking for help and started saying, hey, I'm not good at this, how can I be better at this? Ever since I started doing it, I started to succeed in everything I was doing.
Amazing.
And I think, never think that every successful person who's out there had to learn. They were not born with it, right? So they
100%.
had to learn. So the more you learn, the more you ask for help, the better it'll be for you as well and your project.
I love that, man. Do you find, and it took me a while to reconcile this, where the entrepreneur in me and the way I function as an entrepreneur, I'm very type A personality. And like you, I've learned how to ask for help and how to be vulnerable and how to not really focus on the things I'm bad at and focus on the things I'm good at. Because we come from a culture where, the things you're not good at is what people focus on, right? You can be
Yeah.
great at acting and drama and social studies, but you suck in business, and they continue to beat the fact that you suck in business. And we don't focus on the things we're really good at. And the minute I started to focus on the things that I'm naturally good at, giving myself permission to not feel bad about the things I suck at. Not only did I become a better entrepreneur in the last 5 years of this 20-year life I've had building companies, is much better than the first 15, but I've also become a much better parent. Now, my wife
Hmm.
will probably argue differently, but I feel like I've become a much better parent because I've now taken, these same things that I'm applying to building businesses to being a dad. How are you, where's the cross section between the mom and the entrepreneur and the filmmaker? Do you keep them separate? Do you combine them? What is your approach?
I combine them because I feel like kids are very honest, and I always, when, for example, I'll give you an example from this morning. I told my daughters I'm going on an IG live now, and my this is what I look like, and I was wearing something else at that point. I was just wearing a regular t-shirt, and my older daughter goes, I like the glasses, but can you change your t-shirt? I don't like that t-shirt. I'm like, oh, okay. So like little things like these make them feel that they're important as well, and actually help me as well. So I actually love combining my kids and my family into my work, and I've always been doing that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. My teenage daughter now has an opinion on how Michelle dresses. And if you remember my wife, my daughter and my wife are almost the same body size now. It's so
Yeah.
weird when I see them arguing eye to eye.
I
I
can't wait
was
for
like,
that.
I was like, what is going on? And it's you've got two girls, I've got one of each, and so trying to balance between the two. I've learned, by being an entrepreneur, and I feel like, everything we learn in business, the hustle, the dedication, the passion, the patience that it comes with the building anything of value, like what you've done with your sister for 15 years. So much of that is really transferable. To close this thing off, there's young people that follow me that are passionate and want to follow an untraditional career. And for me, filmmaking or running your own magazine, those are all untraditional businesses in our culture. Not everywhere else, but in our culture, because they don't come with a 9 to 5 paycheck. And
Yeah.
anybody that still holds on to a false reality that 9 to 5 is secure anymore in this world is living in a different planet. And so, for the person that's going to listen to this and watch it and is at the edge of deciding either to pursue the passion or continue with safety, what would be your advice? And then to close it all off, what is your relationship with money? Because so much of the decisions we make are hindered or sort of opening up because of our relationship with money and how we view it, right? And so, part A, what's the advice to that young person that's on the fence? And B, what's your relationship with money and how it fits into the things you decide to do?
So starting off with money, I still remember my parents always taught me that money is just survival. It just pays your bill. It'll never bring inner satisfaction. So for money, money is still survival for me and nothing more than that. And in terms of Sorry, can you ask the first part again? There was
Yeah,
money. There was.
there isn't a cease out there who's like, I want to be a filmmaker, but there's no
Mhm.
money in it. It's a
Gotcha.
long path. There's no support network. I want to go into it, but I'm gonna have so much hatred and heat from my
Hmm.
family and my friends are gonna look at me like, "What? You want to be a filmmaker?" And
Yeah.
then got, oh my gosh, God forbid you're a female, in the culture that wants to do this, or somebody in their late 40s or 50s that want to pursue this. It's not a young person's game.
Yeah.
What's your
So what I feel is first you need to decide, is it money or passion? What do you choose, right? And what is more important to you? For me, money was not as important as my passion or as my hobby. So I chose my passion. When you choose your passion, especially in the arts industry, it is very, very challenging. I mean, money is something you can't even think about, and I would say if you are choosing your passion, make sure you have a side gig which pays money. Make sure, for example, I was doing news, which paid me money so that I could make my films and make sure my bills are paid. So I had to do filmmaking, which was my passion, part time until I was able to make enough money in filmmaking to make it full time. So this way I wasn't 100% in and I wasn't, 0% in. So I had my 50-50, and I made it 100% until I knew, okay, now I can survive on my filmmaking. And I know I have enough income coming from that. Especially if you're getting into something that's very new, always make
mm,
sure you research. If you're going to, for example, start a podcast, think about what other podcasts are there that are already similar to yours. How is your podcast going to be different from theirs? How are you going to attract viewers or listeners to your podcast? So always think about not just starting something, but why are you starting it? What is behind, everything that you want to do, and how are you going to do it? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? Or is this something that you want to be doing long term? So there are a lot of things that you need to think about, before you just hit something up. So always make sure you
yeah.
do your research.
No, I love that. And, the knowledge bombs in that little 30-second comment, guys. Do your research, be passionate, but understand where money is. And for most of us, money is a survival instinct thing. And you can't imagine money. Like, it's not something you can visualize, right? You
Yeah.
can't imagine, like, what does $1 million look like,
I don't
right?
know. A big
Uh,
house, a mansion?
you,
I don't know.
and that's what I tell people. I say, instead of trying to think about like, I want $1 million, imagine what you feel like if you can afford, things that will make you feel like you're achieving something. You can imagine what a
Exactly.
good suit will feel like on you, or a nice pair of shoes, or a beautiful dinner at a nice restaurant that you typically wouldn't go to. That's the feelings you're chasing, and money happens to allow you to do that. And then in pursuing that passion, you get to live, the life you want to live. So it's incredible, man. And sadly, we lost a legend in the film world,
Yeah.
Chadwick,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
what a crazy announcement that was, man.
Yeah, it was, especially during these times when, he was so talented. I loved him in his Black Panther. He was just amazing. And of course, his other films too. But when I heard that, I was in shock and I was in disbelief. I almost thought I was, no, this can't be. But because we're talking about that, we could also think about, what social media does to actors and actresses and celebrities. When he used to do he would put out posts, and people would say, "Oh, he doesn't look proper. Why is he doing this?" And not he actually took off those posts, and we don't realize what that. These celebrities are also human beings. They're just like us. They have the same problems. They have, you know, so many things that could be bothering them, whether it be health, whether it could be financial issues, whether it could be family issues. So I think, yes, social media is a great tool, but making sure that we don't misuse it is our responsibility as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I was talking to somebody I'm mentoring a couple months ago, And she was like, "Look, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a celebrity. I don't know." And I felt like if the definition of a celebrity is somebody's values you look up to, then we're all micro celebrities already, because there's always one person in our life that's looking up to us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
so, how you carry yourself, the belief system that you're sharing with either one person, your cousin, your niece, your daughter, your son, is just magnified at thousands and thousands of people. But who you are is still who you are. And sometimes we forget that we all have that accountability to leave an impression with every moment we have with others, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I love you for taking some time today to share some wisdoms and some bombs on this venture that I'm in. I think I told you, like, I started writing a book, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
halfway through I got into my own roadblocks, and I was like, I don't know how to express the things I want to express. So this daily sessions are how I'm able to share my stories by listening to your stories. And then, I'm able to now bring my ideas to the world, but I use everybody else's life and inspiration and knowledge bombs to help me sort of stay grounded, and also an opportunity to like share my version. So thank you for blah blah blah. Thank you for enabling me to do that today. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. And you know what? I've logged on so many times on your IG lives, and I've always learned something new. Like, I think you had Steph Gosine lately, and she said, don't just keep getting blessings, but be a blessing. There's so many things that I've learned from your IG lives and from you as well, Satsby. You're a huge inspiration in the community, a huge role model that people look up to. And I remember the first time I saw you on that Daisy Fest stage, I think 12, 13, 14 years ago. And I'm like, wow, look at him. He has so much energy. He's so passionate about what he does. And, at that time, I saw you as a role model as well, and I still do. And you know what? Thank you for what you do, and thank you for being you. I'm so glad we have role models like you in our community where, younger South Asians can see and say, hey, I want to do that too. If he can do it, why can't I? So I'm so
That's it,
grateful that
man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Listen, my kids are gonna, photobomb my basement soon. I know yours are waiting. I
yeah.
appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get your sister, aka the writer slash the legal counsel, the lawyer, onto the talk. That's a fascinating career for me too. So Armin, look out for my message, and for everybody listening, thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Be
Yes.
safe, my friend.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Man, what an amazing talk. I'm pumped. Uh, I'm liking these afternoon talks, man, and we're gonna go back to morning, but there's some amazing guests that I've lined up that are gonna be in the afternoons, and so we'll just kind of figure out how to deliver some content. But everybody watching, thank you so much, and please go check out her film when it comes out, The Bloody Mess. It's a topic that we all need to get uh, familiar with, and also help to normalize, and things will only become normal if we continue to talk about it and not carry the stigma forward. And it's too late for my mom's generation. It's borderline uncomfortable for my generation. But let's empower the next generation to normalize this. And it's no different than any of the other more important topics in their lives. And it's a body function that we can't stop and control. It is nature doing what nature does, and we need to empower young women to talk about this and feel comfortable. And I'm not just saying that. I've got a 13-year-old, and I'm trying to make sure she is learning from these incredible female role models that I've been able to surround myself with. And so if you listen to this podcast or watch, go ahead and follow Armin, and give him some love and support them. And I'll be back next week with more content. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Bye.